I'm Anna Marie Close. I'm at Ohio State University Libraries. It's the one with the, which I skipped. So when I started my job in 2019, joining the Samvera community with a Samvera Hyrax repository of digitized and born digital special collections and archival materials was really a deep dive. So I thought I would reflect on things that I've learned, and I'm definitely not an expert. So if anyone has things to share, I would encourage you to do so in Slack. So in terms of platforms I've worked with or considered, there is a lot of options out here besides Samvera, like DSpace, Content DM, Digital Commons, and Islandora. And I think Samvera has a lot of really great options to provide. And I think it's important to celebrate these and discuss them and see about what we can continue to do to improve the code base. Because some of these open source options, such as Samvera, give the library community a better exit plan. And I think that was something that was discussed in DLF in terms of digital preservation too, is that there is a concern that when you get into bed with some of these vendors, it can be really hard to get your content out. And we do have vendors also in the Samvera space, but I can say from personal experience, Content DM was really painful to break up with. And it's easy for these vendors to promise that they give you everything, but we have a lot that we can show for here in this community. And something that gets me really excited is the idea of being able to search across state ranges with ambiguous dates. I do research with Digital Public Library of America, in Digital Public Library of America data, I should specify, about date metadata. And just in short, it can be really tricky with all the ambiguous dates and the various workarounds. And with some examples like Duke University libraries and Emory University libraries, they have these great ways of searching across state spans with ambiguous and uncertain dates. And this is due to the use of a subset of the extended date time format. And if you're not familiar with the extended date time format, it is a standard that was created by Library of Congress around 2012. And in 2019, it was formalized. There were some modifications made, and it was adopted by ISO 8601. So this is a real standard, not implemented widely in the community. It has some adoption, and some of our Samverans have provided this support with in the community, and I would like to see this added to the code base as an optional enhancement, because I think a lot of us would enjoy using that. And right now, we don't have that capability in my institution. So we're doing this case where we're encoding values with the hope that eventually we can share these machine readable dates as text dates to the public, but also provide that date searching, which is a really great thing. Another thing that really excites me is some adopters have found ways to provide more robust metadata. I think one of the challenges as a metadata librarian is Dublin Core's creator and contributor field. And I think for a lot of it, it's kind of a love-hate relationship working with Dublin Core. It's not quite the linked data arrangement that one would like, but I think this is something that is really great. And for those of us who have used mods, the ability to add more fields and provide a richer semantic relationship is helpful. I would say, though, that editing your metadata set with Samvera is harder than I would like it to be. So I'm really hoping that the M3 work in Allison Flex will come to fruition. So in Content DM, there is compound records. And what I've come to appreciate in Samvera is the idea of having a way to represent parent and child works. And so you may have one overarching work that is related to another work, and how do you represent that relationship? And we've been using it for our manuscript fragments, where we have a record that is the overarching manuscript fragment, and then there are the separate folios. And so both levels have metadata, and it's not like just having the file set, it's actually this connection between the two. And it's not something I initially knew about when I started in the Samvera community. And I noticed that Trinity College in Ireland is also using this for its manuscript fragments, but it can also be good for scrapbooks. In the case of harvesting with DPLA, we use this in terms of harvesting both the parents and the children. So we also have nesting collections, and Content DM, a lot of us have seen the way to nest communities and collections in that kind of arrangement. I have a stakeholder that would love to use that to mirror archival collections. It's not my favorite way to go about it, but it is something that I think has benefit. We have connections to ways to share that data, such as the Fedora connector that works with Omeka, but increasingly AAAF manifests are the way to go with sharing content. And I think even Content DM was a kind of a late adopter to going to the AAAF framework. But of course, there are various APIs that are used in the Samvera community that have benefit. But there are some gaps and pain points that I would like to mention. And one of those is the inability to order multiple values in a metadata field. And this is something that there is an issue in Samvera hierarchs to address. And it's a problem in the scholarly community as well. There is often an implication in metadata that the values that are listed first are the most important. And this is particularly the case with creators and contributors, especially with scholarship. And so in terms of semantics, it is a problem. It's a limitation with RDF, and I think that's something that would be great to deal with. I'm not as well-versed in terms of the connections to archive space. There is work on ArcLike, but this is something that's been discussed in SMIG and would possibly, if we address that, help with gaining more adopters. Something that shocked me is there isn't out-of-the-box support for OAI harvesting, and as Nora mentioned during the SMIG update, is there has recently been work to document some of that stuff, and there's been discussion about spinning up a working group to work to address this issue. And as I noted, it's really difficult to change metadata fields, which is not, if you work in Content DM or DSpace, it's a lot easier to make those changes. And lastly, I'm going to say that something that seems antithetical, but there's both limited, dispersed, and overly technical documentation. And I think for people who are not as tech savvy, it's not always clear what we offer in this community. And we offer a lot. And I would like to give them options besides going straight to a vendor like bPress or OCLC and let them see what there is, because even if they need a vendor because they don't have developers to support this work, we have vendors in this community, but they still have a better chance at preserving their content and getting it out if it turns out not to be the right platform for them. So those are my thoughts, and thank you very much.